My 24F boyfriend 25M said he expects regular threesomes from now on. Me, 24F, and my boyfriend, 25M, were out last night drinking. He got more drunk than he had gotten in a while, and by the end of the night he was pestering me non-stop about bringing someone home with us. I was so confused because we had never discussed having threesomes and I couldn't tell what he was trying to do. We went back together to my apartment alone at the end of the night like we always do and just went to bed. This morning we went out for breakfast. I decided to bring the situation up again because 1. He was so drunk last night that I honestly don't know if he remembers doing this, and 2. I'm still feeling really upset because it feels like he was trying to cheat on me while in my presence last night. The second I tell him what happened last night, he almost looked relieved and told me he's been meaning to discuss this with me. For some context, he and I have been dating for a little over 3 months now, and we used to have sex a good amount. But it's dwindled down this last month or so. 5 months ago, he was dating another girl, 25F, for about 4 months. He told me in this relationship they almost only had threesomes. The relationship started out just them two having sex, and he made it sound like after the second or third time of them having sex, his girlfriend started bringing in other girls to the bedroom. She would find them on Tinder, scope them out, find a day for them to all meet and do the deed. He said that he's gotten so used to having 2 girls at once that having sex with just one person has gotten boring for him. He told me he was just waiting till our relationship was at the place it could be opened up to others. I asked him how often he had these threesomes, and he said every weekend. He also said his ex would turn down any advances when they were alone, so they pretty much only had threesomes. I'm not super experienced in relationships, but none of this sounds normal to me. I also am not attracted to women like that, so him just expecting us to have all these threesomes now makes me feel super uncomfortable. I could really use some advice. Everything has been going perfect with this guy, and this just feels like a huge bomb, and now I feel all over the place. Is this a big enough reason to break up with somebody over? Or am I just feeling insecure? He pretty much told me having sex with just me isn't doing it for him anymore. I also feel like it's really weird what his ex was doing. So I kinda want advice on their relationship as well as my relationship with him now. Update. I did not want to see this man until I got my thoughts together, so I purposely went over while he was away to grab some things I need for work, and I asked his roommates about this situation. I know that's stupid, but I just needed any information. They of course had 2 different opinions on the ex. They're both guy roommates. One guy thought it was so hot how she always wanted threesomes and she was always making out with girls, and apparently she was just one of the guys. The other roommate said it was all pretty weird. She would regularly have girls over at their apartment. She said she wanted more privacy because she had a roommate, so she chooses to go be in the presence of 3 other guys? Doesn't make sense. Apparently, she was also highly religious, so I'm starting to think she was just closeted and used this plan to still sleep with women. I am definitely breaking up with my soon-to-be ex, but I also want to talk about this with him first, because I really don't see him finding many other girls like this, and the closest thing he'd get is forming an open, poly relationship with someone, but that would still involve having sex with just your one partner from time to time. From what I've heard about her in the past and what I collected today, this woman sounds like a lesbian, not even bisexual. Apparently there was a lot of drama with the girls in the friend group not liking this ex because she would be really cold to him while being so warm to all his female friends and other women. She would tell him not to touch her 1 minute and be draped in the arms of a girl the next minute. He wants an exclusive relationship, but just with a lot of threesomes, as he phrased it. But I think his ex genuinely just wanted to sleep with women but used him as the middleman and a cover-up. I genuinely do not know how to have a conversation like this, but I appreciate everyone's help. Final update you have all been waiting for. I went over tonight to talk. I told him that I had opened up to the idea of having threesomes. His jaw dropped and turned into a smile, and he said he was very impressed by my attitude and openness. I agreed with him and said I love this new page of honesty we have in our relationship. And then I let him know I'm going to have my Tinder settings set to men while I get comfortable with threesomes in general, and then we can bring in a woman later. His smile quickly turned angry as he started calling me disgusting and asking me what I think of him. I asked him what the problem is, and he said sleeping with a guy would be disgusting. Trying so hard to keep a slick smile off my face, I asked him why, and he said because I'm obviously straight. WTF? And I just looked at him and said, yeah, so am I. He just stared at me for a second, so I decided to add, but I don't think your ex is. He started getting so defensive and yelling louder, asking me WTF I'm talking about and all that. I was explaining what I found out today and what I think of it all. At this point his roommate was in the kitchen making a hot dog, so he was in there for like 3 minutes max. In that 3 minutes though, I finally tell my ex, it's okay to admit your last relationship probably wasn't normal. However, it's pretty common for people to date someone closeted. He screams at me that his ex wasn't gay and to stop suggesting that. His roommate then mutters so casually while making his hot dog, oh yeah, homegirl was gay. A lesbian for sure. I'm trying so hard not to laugh at this point. My ex told him to stay TF out of this, and he said, I can't. You're screaming at her loud enough for probably the neighbors to hear, which isn't cool, and she's a great woman, so if you don't want to be monogamous with her, then there's someone who definitely would want that, just let it go. My ex then replies, what, you want her? Go ahead. She'll just do the same thing and accuse you of being gay in a few months. At this point I couldn't contain myself and I started laughing so hard. It genuinely felt like we were in a scene from The Office at that point. While laughing and trying to figure out where this came from, I tried to say that no one was accusing him of being gay, but my ex did not see the same humor I did, and just told me to GTFO before I could finish my sentence. So I did. I hope that counted as our breakup, lol. I do not want to hear from him again. He is so immature and clearly has his own internal conflicts he needs to sort out himself. This day has been a roller coaster. It went from the most sleepless, heartbreaking night and morning into a humorous story that will be nice to tell later. I'm glad I found out now and not later down the road, because luckily I still feel detached enough to not be too worried about it. You have all been a great help, and if there is an update, I will give it, but I think that's the end of this story. Tell him you expect him not to contact you now that it's over. Unless you are particularly interested in polyamory, this is not the guy for you and you are wasting time here. This guy can't run a monogamous relationship. So if you are monogamous, this is your sign to bail. You can break up with anyone for any reason or no reason at all. You don't need permission. I sure wouldn't do it. It's disaster for 99% of relationships, but if you genuinely want to consider opening your relationship, then start by sending him some Tinder pics of guys you like and ask which ones he wants to join you. Both for sex? As presumably both you are not bisexual, then he can't expect you to have another girl in your bed if he's not willing for another dude to join you. He's lying, and not even a good liar. Finding unicorn women to come sleep with your boyfriend is difficult, let alone on a regular basis. The rest is also irrational. But the first part can't be factual. It doesn't sound like you're compatible. And it sounds like his ex was more into women than into him. Bring in another guy to have a threesome with. Okay, so this your sign it's time to move on from this relationship. But before you go, just out of curiosity, ask him if the threesome would be okay with another guy instead of another woman. Let us know what he says. Act serious when you ask. Geez, break up with him. You have only been together 3 months and are fundamentally not compatible. Stop wasting your time. This is kinda hilarious. It sounds like your dude got played by a closeted lesbian and now thinks he's a stud living a porno life. You need to make him an ex-BF. He said that he's gotten so used to having 2 girls at once that having sex with just one person has gotten boring for him. I'll take things that never happened for $100 bucks Alex. Quote, is this a big enough reason to break up with somebody over? Yes. More than enough. He pretty much told me having sex with just me isn't doing it for him anymore. Well, that is a good sign that he is not the one for you. If he really loved you, you would have been enough. But your BF sees you as a sex provider, and not an equal in a relationship. Time to move on. Never mind what he says his ex did. Spoiler. He's lying. You don't want this. Tell him nope. Monogamy is what you signed up for. He can be happy with that or he can leave. Yes. Absolutely big enough to break up. In fact, you don't need big things to break up anyway. You are not into what he is into sexually. You should never be pressured or feel like you have to comply with someone else's sexual needs. That isn't respectful in a relationship. Some people are into threesomes and some are not. I would not say it was a common thing, but each to his own. Just tell him that it isn't your thing, so he should go find someone who is okay with it. And if he pressures you, then block him. You said no and you don't need someone who doesn't respect your choices. Lol, dude thinks he is a sex god, so used to having 2 women at once when he was likely a beard. His roommate is for sure into you, haha. Yeah, this isn't the norm. You've only been together 3 months and he's bored. Split now. You're monogamous and he's being pushy to make you guys poly. If he's not satisfied, then he can go elsewhere. Yes, it's a big enough reason to break up. Look at it this way. He's a manipulative posse that deliberately lied to you until he thought you had enough feelings for him that you wouldn't leave when he dropped this bombshell on you. Not cool. 3 months in and he already wants to bring other people into the bedroom? Ditch him. Dump him. You two aren't compatible and he is manipulative. First, you are monogamous and he is not. That's a core incompatibility. Second, he is being manipulative. He waited until you were invested in the relationship, then pushed to open it. That's not ethical. He should have been upfront that he wanted non-monogamy. What else will he drop on you in the future? Lastly, he is lying about his experiences with his ex. Flat out. There aren't many women who want to be unicorns. There's no way he was having MFF threesomes with different women every weekend. They may have had a few. They may have had a regular third. She may have banged a woman while he watched. But they weren't both sharing different thirds every weekend. According to him, his ex was recruiting all the thirds. He wants you to agree to an open relationship, plus do most of the work of finding the thirds. Oh, and you aren't even gay. When straight women approach me for threesomes because their boyfriends want them, I spill my drink on them. I am not some sex toy for a dysfunctional couple. Don't be his recruiter. His relationship with his ex ended for a reason. It sounds like they weren't compatible, but just covered it up for a while with threesomes. I recommend you don't make the same mistake. His ex also sounds lesbian and not bi. You have no common ground, so you have no relationship. He's lying about his ex. But it's not your business to try to figure out why. It seems like you're completely incompatible and I'd end it now. Anything that makes you uncomfortable is a reason to break up. Only exception is where you say, "That makes me uncomfortable," and they say, "That's fine, we won't do that then," and they never mention it again. Your feelings matter. There's nothing to discuss with him. Just break it off. He is trying to pressure you into sexual situations you're not comfortable with.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. ThrowRAgrlfrnd is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.